What's up, you amazing people? I hope you're having a fantastic day. You are, of course, watching and listening to the Daily Dirty 30, also known as the DDT, here on the Kevin Lee Show. And I am your host, Kevin Lee. Now, for those of you who do not know what the DDT is all about, let me take a moment to explain. You see, it's a show that airs live at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and it's where I get to spend 30 minutes telling you, the viewer, all about the things that bother me today. What do I get out of it? It's easy. It's therapeutic. Why should you tune in? That's even easier. It's entertaining. Sound like a fair trade? Good. Let's get to it. Hello, friends, and happy Friday. Yes, we did actually make it to Friday, so congratulations to you and me. That being said, you are, of course, watching the Daily Dirty 30 here on the Kevin Lee Show. This is a show that you should know by now, but if you don't, it airs every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Oh, and my name is Kevin. That being said, how many times can I say that in a day? Tonight, we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the indifferent. More or less, what is happening, or at least has been happening as of late, is people are, well, they're picking sides, if you will. And it's not so much a left or a right thing. It's just a good, a bad, and indifferent. There are people who think that things that are going on right now around the country and even around the world with all these, protests and the riots and the looting and the breaking and the burning and the fighting and the shootings is a good thing. Some people, probably the majority, think it's a bad thing. And then you have a fairly large number of people who are, well, indifferent. And we're going to talk about that right now. So, first up on the docket is going to be talking about what happened last night after the close of the RNC, the Republican National Convention. Long story short, there was a big speech given, and then at the end, everyone kind of went along their merry way. Well, when they did this, they all were exiting, the White House. And needless to say, there was some issues. And first and foremost, we're going to just show a couple of videos, and then we'll talk about it. Sound good? I think so. Blow this up big so everyone can see it, and you should be able to hear it. Maybe a little too loud. So these are people exiting. Just leaving the White House. People who are obviously invited. Just trying to go on their way home. So that's video one. We'll hop right over to video two. Wish I could make this more seamless, but I can't. So now this is actually going to involve Rand Paul. I don't know if you know who Rand Paul is, but chances are you might. He is a senator from Kentucky. He is a libertarian-minded Republican, whatever you want to take that for. And, well, this is Rand Paul trying to make his way from the White House, I guess, to his hotel he was staying at, from what I understand. So we will watch that right now. Rand Paul's obviously right there in the middle. He's with his wife, the woman in the blonde hair. And there's police officers surrounding them, trying to just simply make their way. As you can see, people are getting fairly physical. Police officers are getting knocked down. Or almost knocked down.
What's up, bro? I got you.
Okay, so another thing about that, I don't know if you could hear that. It was kind of faint. I didn't want to get too loud with it, but one person was, or at least it sounded like one person, but it could have been multiple people were talking about Breonna Taylor. Again, I'm sure you've probably heard the name and you kind of are slightly familiar with what happened. And there was a no-knock warrant issued. There was some gunfire and she ended up dying. Rand Paul actually introduced legislation in her name to get no-knocks actually banned. But yet people are attacking him like he doesn't know who she is or he's doing nothing for her. kind of ridiculous if you ask me. Just all around. Now, again, we're going to show another video from another angle of more people exiting from the White House grounds right after the speech was given. Oop. People are booing, yelling, cursing, jumping up in people's faces, flicking them off, trying to intimidate them. And we're talking like old people here, 70, 80 years old. Class acts all around. And they're just walking their heads up, just trying to ignore them and avoid them as best they can. We'll let it play one more time. Now, you have to ask yourself, why were these people doing what they're doing? Are they doing it because they have a message and they're trying to get their message across? Or are they just trying to create havoc and trying to instigate violence? I think anyone with half a brain can figure that one out, so I won't answer it for you, but it's pretty sad that this is the world that we live in. Actually, it's not sort of sad. It's extraordinarily sad. Just disappointing all around. And again, this isn't just young people. I mean, there are people who are in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s who are doing these things. It's not like it's just the kids. And it's certainly not the kids who are organizing all this and supporting it financially. Speaking of that, unfortunately, I do not have the link. Maybe I can pull it up right quick. There were some interesting things that happened in Kenosha as well. And if we have time at the end, we will get back to that. But here is another interesting story. So this is actually another police escort of guests leaving the GNC, the convention, and heading to their hotels. And this is including Georgia Senator Vernon Jones. The funny thing is that Vernon Jones is actually a Democrat. But yet he's getting attacked, well, not attacked physically, but attacked verbally as he's trying to make his way just down the street. And again, he has police escorts, and this is much more peaceful than it was for the Rand Paul. The Rand Paul group was pretty bad. People were really getting in there, following them for blocks after blocks, getting physical with the police officers. This is much more peaceful, and this is just a more verbal situation. But it's kind of telling. So just see if you can pay attention to the sounds, the voices. I will play it. I'll adjust the volume so you can hear it accordingly, and I'll be quiet.
It's fucked up though.
I'm just letting it play again.
Fucked up though.
So I don't know if the people who are involved in this really don't know who these people are, or if they're just angry at anyone who might have been walking out of the RNC. Or I did hear someone kind of talk about, almost like whisper, that it was a congressman. So someone knew who he was. Maybe he didn't know exactly who he was, but he knew he was a congressman, possibly. Maybe he knew exactly who he was. But Vernon Davis is not. It's actually Vernon Davis. Oh no, Vernon Jones. I'm sorry. I know when I said Davis, I wasn't right. Vernon Jones is, again, he's a state senator from Georgia. And so that was interesting. The fact that it just seems like they're going to, they figured, well, there's police protecting these people, so these people must be important, so we have to harass them. And again, there's nothing wrong with protesting. There's nothing wrong with trying to get your voice heard. That's not the problem I have. And again, this was fairly peaceful. They're just following them, heckling them, so be it. It's sad, but it's not only not unheard of, it's not like it's at a level that's unacceptable. I think the Rand Paul situation was a bit much. They were attacking people. And again, those are just little snippets that we saw Rand Paul. Apparently, there were many things said. There were possibly even threats mentioned. You know, and again, there were people being pushed around. It was a far different situation than what you just saw with Vernon Jones. But it's just a really sad, terrible time. And again, I'm going to bring this up right here. See, but yeah, so everyone can see this again. So this is actually a still shot, and this was captured in one of the videos that we saw. Okay, so here's a young man. I'm assuming he's a man. I'm assuming his gender. I'm sorry. And he is getting in the face of two elderly people. I mean, these people look like they're probably somewhere in their 70s, maybe 80s, probably closer to 80s, or not, if not in their 80s. And he's flicking them off. And again, as long as he's not physically harming them or threatening them, that's one thing. But what is the purpose of this? Can someone tell me in any way, shape, or form what is the reason or purpose of someone doing something like this to an elderly couple who had just been invited to the White House? Apparently, I'm breaking things now. He got invited to the White House to watch, you know, this speech, this major speech, the closing speech of the RNC. Again, I don't know who these people are. I'm assuming they're business. I'm assuming somehow they know someone. That's how they got invited. I mean, there was a lot of people there. I don't know if you actually saw the crowd, but that was actually on the South Lawn of the White House. There was a ton of people. I mean, for the South Lawn. That being said, I don't get it, people. What is wrong with everyone? Like, I understand you're angry and you should voice your opinion and you should stand up for what you believe in. Yes, yes, yes. I have no problem with that. But this is not standing up for what you believe in. This is being an asshole. That's all this is doing. There's no good that's going to come out of this. You don't look good. You're not going to get your message across to anybody. You're not going to influence the people that you're flicking off, standing a foot away from them, screaming at them, scaring elderly people. I mean, possibly scaring them. I don't know. Maybe they're badasses and they don't give a rat's ass what this guy's doing. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm old school, but if I was in the situation and I was, you know, in that middle, I would probably separate these people and say, no, you need to back off now. I don't care who these people are. I don't care what they've done. I don't care who you are. It's not how you treat people. It's not going to do any good for anybody. Nobody. Believe me when I say this. It's not going to help. And are we out of control? Yes. Is everybody out of control? No. But look at Kenosha. Look how quickly this small town blew up. Literally blew up. Right? Buildings gone. Entire street blocks gone. Businesses that have been there for 50, 60, 70 years that I've known, that I've been to, gone. Why? Because someone got angry and decided they were going to destroy shit. Just that simple. Is that being out of control? Yes. Who do I blame that on? I blame that on the local authorities, and I blame it on Governor Evers. He should have had people down there to stop this from happening. Period. Day one. He should have sent 1,000 people down there to stop it. He should have blocked people from even coming into the town. Sorry, he should have. It's just the way it works. You want to take control of something, you have to go at it tenfold. You don't like meet force for force. You don't like send one person in for every person that's going to come protest. No, you actually have to send in 10 people for every person that's going to protest. You have to outnumber them so many that they're going to come to you and you're going to go, oh, yeah, let's not protest here, and walk away. That's how you have to protect places. No violence will happen. When they get there and realize that they're outnumbered 10-1, they ain't going to do anything. They're going to go home. You know why? Because they're cowards. They're only empowered because you have leaders like the governor of Wisconsin with his thumb up his ass who wants to let anyone do what they want to do because he wants to feel like a 60s hippie. He wants to feel like the cool guy. That's what he's been a dork and a nerd and a geek his whole life, and now he wants to be the cool guy. And that's exactly what he's doing. Same thing with Lori Lightfoot. The only reason why she acts the way she does isn't because she agrees with people. She thinks those people are horrible human beings. She only agrees with them for one reason and one reason only. She wants to be cool. She wants to be a badass. She wants to pretend like she's in charge. These people are disgusting human beings. Period. And trust me, they're all across the board. And they're on the left and they're on the right. These people are all over the place. We have terrible people in leadership. I'm sorry, but we do. I know it's like a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people say, well, no, you got to be positive. No, these people are terrible. Right? And no one's going to do anything about it unless we do. But changing gears, we're going to talk about something else. I saw this headline and it kind of confused me a bit. So it's about Mark Zuckerberg, which I'm sure you know. He is the founder, sort of, an owner, definitely, Facebook. And apparently his employees did not like the way he handled a recent situation. And he kind of talked about it and apologized, sort of, on a company-wide type, I don't know if it was like a inter-office, that wasn't a Zoom thing, but it was like a Zoom thing, a meeting they had with some of the leaders. And apparently he was approached and or attacked verbally for his stances of things that have happened. Yeah, but I'll just bring this up so we can all see. So Facebook employees are furious at CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who admitted during a company-wide meeting that the company made an operational mistake by failing to remove a self-proclaimed militia group's call to arms ahead of the Kenosha protest that left 2 people dead. In the online meeting, employees criticized the billionaire chief executive over Facebook's handling of the content from QAnon, conspiracy theorists, and militia groups like the Kenosha Guard. The militia group's page was reported twice for the call to arms post without being taken down before the Wisconsin shooting, in which a teen vigilante allegedly killed 2 people and injured another. Now, we've talked about that to a great extent. If you haven't seen that, go back a couple of days to episode 38 of the Daily Dirty 30, and we get in quite a bit of detail of what actually occurred. So go ahead. I do recommend to watch that. It's worth the 30 minutes. Not that every episode isn't. Of course it is. Of course it is. That being said, so if you read this, you can understand that people are upset because because he's saying there was an operational mistake, whatever that's supposed to mean. I don't know if he's blaming the way things are set up, if he's blaming his employees, what have you, but there was an operational mistake for failing to remove a self-proclaimed militia group's call to arms. Now, take it for what you want. Maybe Facebook could have done something, but do you blame Facebook for what's happening or what happened in Kenosha over the last few days? Is it Facebook's fault? No. Is it even the people up there who are potentially attempting to protect property and people of Kenosha? Is it their fault things are going bad? I would argue that no. And the reason why I can make that argument, and I can do it with a straight face, is because they wouldn't be up there doing what they're doing if these rioters hadn't been up there destroying everything in sight, destroying private property that belongs to individuals, private property that belongs to businesses, private property that belongs to the city. If it hadn't been for them being up there, this wouldn't have been an issue. Now, I know what you're going to say, or at least the people who take the opposite opinion of me are going to be like, well, if it wasn't for the cop who shot Jacob Blake, then they wouldn't be up there either. And I agree that is true. But just because one man got shot doesn't mean an entire city should be burned down and torn down and destroyed. It's called the court system. It's what civilized people do. It's already being investigated, and we'll see what happens. Trust me, if they can charge that cop with anything, they're going to just to appease the crowds. No doubt. No doubt. Even if he didn't do anything wrong, if they can find anything to pin on him, they will. There's no doubt about that. And I'm actually afraid of what's going to happen or what might happen if, they find nothing and they decide not to press charges. It's frightening is what it is. I mean, it really is. And again, do you blame Mark Zuckerberg? No. Do you blame the Facebook as a whole? No, of course not. They shouldn't be responsible for taking stuff down. They shouldn't be. I mean, unless it literally calls for violence or something that could be, avoided. No one was calling for violence. This call to arms was a call to protection, right? It had nothing to do with actual violence. It didn't say go out and kill people. It didn't say go out and, destroy things. And even then, there are groups who are part of these rioters and these protests who travel from town to town, literally. I mean, these people, most of the people that have been making all this destruction and disturbance in Kenosha over the last several days are not locals. These are people from Chicago. These are people from Milwaukee and Madison. These are people who flew here from different parts of the country. Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's facts about it. Well, I'll bring it up again if we have time, 20 minutes. Okay, we'll try to go through the next few things real quick because I thought this was interesting as well. So this was, or is, and it's just a quick little story I just came across, but it said that there's breaking news in the NHL. It's investigating Florida Panthers former GM Dale Talon for allegedly using racially charged language while in the Toronto bubble. Again, that was I guess it's still going on. The NHL, they're during their playoffs. I guess their team was eliminated, but apparently there's an investigation because a man possibly used racially charged language. They're doing an investigation because someone said something. Now, again, I know I'm a little older and I'm a little old school, but if someone says something, you just pull them aside and you call them out on it. The end. Like, that's how the world works. You don't have an investigation because someone said something or let something slip, And again, if you're an owner of a company and you don't want someone working for you or representing you who might use that kind of language, and you say, you know what, you're fired. And that's it. It's over. Done deal. Like, there's no reason to have an investigation. They're having an investigation to appease people. No one even knew this even happened. They're creating headlines to show how woke they are. This is a joke. Like, I'm sorry, it's hockey. For the love of God, it's hockey. It's not even a real sport. Sorry, it's not. I mean, I guess it's kind of a sport, right? I mean, it's physical. It's definitely a physical sport in that sense. I mean, there's a lot of physicalness to it, I suppose. But it's hockey. Sorry. Now, something else we need to talk about is the left seems to be eating their own. Well, they always are, but they're doing it at a higher rate than usual. I've seen a lot of people being thrown under the bus lately who are lifelong leftists. I'm talking far leftists. And the most recent headline that I've seen is actually talking about Bill Maher. I'm sure you probably have an idea who that is. This is Bill Maher. So he's a comedian. He's a commentator. He talks about politics. And there's literally nobody on the planet Earth with a more punchable face than Bill Maher. Now, when I saw that, I thought to myself, okay, what in God's name did Bill Maher do now? Well, this is what he did. Apparently, he made an appearance on, I think it was Joy Reid, and he made a comment saying that he was nervous about Election Day, the same way I was feeling 4 years ago. That's it. There's no more to the story. He made that comment, and the left are attacking him because he's planting seeds like Michael Moore did when he was making claims. They both were making claims 4 years ago saying that they thought Trump could actually win, and we need to take this serious because Hillary might lose. And she did. And Trump became president. And now he is saying it again. He's like, I got these little butterflies in my stomach, and I really feel like, this may not turn out the way we want it to. I mean, he's rooting for the left. It's not like he's rooting for Trump. He's rooting for Biden and Harris. And he's warning people, I'm nervous about this. And literally, these are the kind of tweets and things that are going out, is that there's so much hate for him because he would even mention that it could even happen. Really? Doesn't that seem kind of crazy? I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of wrong, no? Am I the only one who might think that? So we are running out of time quickly, but I think I am going to have time to show you what I want to show you. But before we do, I want to show you this. So this happened in Minneapolis. Kind of unrelated, but related. Here is a cop that was trying to, or not even trying to, he was just going back to his vehicle. I don't know if he was going to get some supplies, or if he was going to go do a report, or if he was going off to a different location, or maybe he was going back to the station. I have no idea, but he was just making his way back to his vehicle. And then this happened. So let me get this full screen again. Sorry, it's going to be a little grainy. This is about the best version I could find of it. So we'll watch it, and then maybe watch it again, and then we'll talk about it. Now, for those of you who didn't see because you're listening at home, something I always say about people who listen to other podcasts, there was a police officer making his way back to his vehicle, and all of a sudden, a large disc, which was either a garbage can lid, but it seemed a heck of a lot heavier than a garbage can lid, but a big piece of metal disc came flying and hit him in the back of the head and knocked him to the ground. Okay? And the noise you hear in the background is cheering. It's cheering that this happened. Okay? We're going to let this finish playing, and then we'll let it play one more time, and we'll talk about it again. me just ask you, does this make you happy when you see something like this? Is this a good thing that you're seeing? Is this a bad thing that you're seeing? Or are you just indifferent when you see something like that? When you see a police officer laying on the ground after getting hit in the back of the head. Now, it looks like he had a helmet on, which probably helped him greatly. But do you hear that clank, right? That was the metal against his helmet. Last I had seen, the officer had been actually placed in a hospital, and he had injuries. Now, they didn't explain to what extent of the injuries were. I do not know. Hopefully, he's going to be okay, and he'll be released tomorrow or the next day. Maybe they're just keeping him for observation. But this is just a sad display of what our country is becoming. And I mean, I'm almost terrified to figure out, to even guess why this type of thing is happening. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I am actually, see if I pull this up. Is it gonna, oh, you know what, here. Excuse me. Come on. Okay. Maybe you can see this okay? I don't know. So we'll pull this up full screen. No. Okay. This should work for you. So this is actually something that a friend of mine sent to me. So this is from the City of Kenosha Police Department. Another release. This is from August 27th, which was yesterday. It says, during the early evening hours of August 26th, Kenosha Police Department received a citizen tip alerting us to several suspicious vehicles with out-of-state plates meeting in a remote lot near State Highway 50 and Green Bay Road. I know exactly where that's at. Acting on this information, Kenosha police officers located the suspicious vehicles and took up surveillance. Kenosha police were assisted by the United States Marshals. The vehicles were a black school bus, bread truck, and tan minivan. Kenosha police confirmed the out-of-state license plates. Police followed the vehicles to a gas station near Washington Road and 30th Avenue. Police observed the occupants of the black bus and bread truck exit and attempt to fill multiple fuel cans. Suspecting that the occupants of these vehicles were preparing for criminal activity related to the civil unrest, officers attempted to make contact and investigate. The officers exited their vehicles, identified themselves, and were wearing appropriate identification, and then detained the occupants of the bus and bread truck. The minivan attempted to drive away. However, Kenosha police stopped the vehicle and ultimately forced entry to the minivan and arrested the occupants. The vehicles contained various items that included helmets, gas masks, protective vests, illegal fireworks, and suspected controlled substances. The 9 individuals were arrested for disorderly conduct and are pending charging decisions by the Kenosha County District Attorney. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath on what the DA is going to do because he's about as far left as you can get, which is just disgusting, that these people were literally caught red-handed preparing to do destruction. These people who are traveling from out of state, this is actually a federal issue, traveling from state to state, preparing to create havoc and break the law and do destruction. Now, when I saw this, I thought to myself, well, that's pretty crazy, right? Like, is this, how likely is this to even be happening, right? Oop. Going the wrong way here. There we go. The heck? No. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties again. My computer's getting all confused. Come on. There we go. So, I think actually, if I remember correctly, there's a video of this as well. There is. Let me see if it's going to play automatically. It is. Hold on. Let me rewind it. All right. So let me pull this up so we can all see it, and we'll watch this before the end of the show. And here are the police cornering them. This is the tan minivan.
Get the fuck out!
Yeah, they're not fucking around.
your shit.
I definitely am. I ain't moving. They just fucked these Black Lives Matter people up at Speedway for nothing. They wasn't doing shit. They wasn't doing nothing. Nothing.
Now, isn't that funny? Did you hear what she said? So she's suspecting that these people, Black Lives Matter people, I'm doing absolutely nothing wrong. Now, obviously, she probably does not know about all the planning and all the supplies they had and the things they were doing. Granted, but they just make that assumption. And that's a perfect ending to this. I mean, good, bad, and indifferent. You think this is good? Obviously, she thinks that their side is good and everyone else is bad. Most people with half a brain will look at this and be like, oh, okay, well, what they're doing was bad. So it was good that the cops stopped them. And how many of you out there watching or listening to this right now are just indifferent? You just, oh, well, you know, it's just the way the world is. 2020, haha. It's time to grow up, man. This world is going to get out of control real quick. Everyone's so used to this country we live in. You know, we live in America, greatest country that's ever existed on the face of the planet, with freedoms that no one else has ever had. And we're taking them for granted. We absolutely are taking every single one of them for granted. And the problem is when you do that, when you take your freedoms and your rights for granted, they get taken away because you're not paying attention, because you're not fighting for them, because you just always assume they were here when I woke up today, so they're going to be here when I wake up tomorrow. But you know what? I'm going to let you know that doesn't mean it's going to happen. You might not have those same rights tomorrow as you have today. And the only one in your life that you know that can stop it is you. So fight for your rights. Don't be pushed around. Don't let these groups, regardless if they're left-leaning or right-leaning or whatever's going on, don't let them take from you what is yours. Like, don't let them take away your safety. Don't let them take away your rights to speak. Don't let them take away your rights to protect yourself. This is America. But you know what? One day it might cease being America if you just let it. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the show and our week. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful weekend. I'm sure with it being the weekend, hopefully you don't have to work, but if you do, that's kind of good too. So at least you can make some money. But that being said, I just, it's Friday. So try to relax, try to enjoy it. Try to appreciate your day. Try to appreciate your weekend and get prepared for next week. And hopefully things will get better. Hopefully things will keep improving. There's no guarantee that they will. And don't forget, there's an election coming up. Now, I don't know if you're voting for Biden or Harris, if you want to vote for Trump and Pence, or if you want to go third party and vote for Joe Jorgensen and Spike Cohen. Yes, there's actually more choices than just the two parties. We don't live in a duopoly. I mean, you'll never know that unless you turn off NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. You'll never know that. But just so you know, there's more people to vote for. And there's even the Green Party. There's a Constitutionalist Party. Investigate. See who's on your ballot. Do a little homework. Have a little fun. Anyways, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Yeah. So I'm going to play us out with a little video, and I want you to enjoy it. And, I don't want you to forget either. Tomorrow is the Libertarian Hour. So tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, it'll be about a 1 hour show. We're going to talk about libertarian issues, and we're going through a little a series right now called Myths and Misunderstandings Within the Libertarian Party. And tomorrow we're talking about education. So it should be fun, if nothing else. So if we don't see you tomorrow, hopefully we will. But if we don't, we'll see you on Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern. All right? You guys take care. We'll see you then. Oops, I gotta share my screen. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. Oops, maybe it will. No, doesn't want to work. Oh no, I broke it. I broke it. Nope, there it is. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Have a great weekend.
Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana all make a chef doing some cooking. Tennessee is the pan, Kentucky is the fried chicken.